Hi there, these comments are for DK. How are you doing today? And you're one of my students in my 30-day TOEFL speaking boot camp course, and I'm listening to a speaking practice test that you sent me yesterday. So it says, Michael, please listen to evaluate and provide feedback on my independent speaking practice test number one. So here it is. Let's see what your question is. Some people buy food that is already prepared. Other people buy fresh food and prepare meals themselves. Which do you prefer? Explain why. And remember, you can send me any independent speaking practice test from anywhere on the internet, including TOEFL TPO. You can also send me integrated speaking from anywhere on the internet. And with the independent speaking, do what you do. Just make sure you copy and you put the speaking prompt in the email for me so I can know what the task is that you're actually addressing. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, so we have I have the speaking rubrics right here. I have your essay. So let's listen to the whole thing one time and see how you did.
In my view, I prefer to buy food that is already prepared because it's more convenient to me. First of all, buying fresh food and preparing meal will consume my time. To be more specific, when I come back home after a long day of working, I don't have time to prepare and cook food, so the prepared food is more suitable to me. Moreover, prepared food from restaurants seems delicious to me more than the homemade food. Although I try to use different spices, prepared food is still delicious because they use their own recipe. So that's why I prefer buying food that is ready to eat.
Okay, so you're working on kind of two fundamental things with your delivery. You're working on sentence rhythm, and you're also working on blending or thought groups and blending. So keep focus in those areas. I think your speaking is getting a little bit more natural. You are varying your tone, which is good. Your tone maybe is a little dramatic, maybe a little bit too much, but keep the tone the way you're doing it, and then keep working on the sentence rhythm area where you're focusing more on the what we call you're focusing on the nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. You're pronouncing those with a little bit more stress, and you're not putting as much stress on the determiners, auxiliary verbs, and prepositions. My first impression with your response is you're between 3 and 3.5. I'm going to say probably around 24 to 26 points out of 30. Let's listen to it one more time.
In my view, I prefer.
Okay, in my view, you don't need that. That's not necessary because you said I prefer, right? So, in my view, it's unnecessary. So, spend time on your details. Try not to use words that don't really do much for your response
To buy food that is already prepared because it's more convenient to me. First
because it's more convenient. I would just say it's more convenient. You don't have to say for me because we already know that because this is your personal experience task.
of all, buying fresh food and preparing meal will consume my time. To be more specific, when I come back home after a long day of working, I don't have time to prepare and cook food, so the prepared food is more suitable to me. Moreover,
I would just say the prepared food is more suitable. Or for me and my family, maybe.
prepared food from restaurants seems delicious to me more than the homemade food.
Instead of you saying a lot of to me, for me, a lot of those words are just not needed. We know who it is you're talking about there, so spend more time on additional detail.
Although I try to use different spices, prepared food is still delicious because they use their own recipe.
Okay, so if you said that sentence, although I try to use food with different spices, so I think the tone should be slightly inflected on that last part of the thought group, but you don't have to increase the tone on every single word in the thought group.
So that's why I prefer buying food that is ready to eat. In my view, I
Okay, so I think my score is pretty accurate. I'm going to put you at 24 to 26 points out of 30. So mainly with language use, sometimes you have a lot of unneeded words in there that are not really necessary, particularly prepositional phrases. So be careful. you're not using words that are not needed, and then focus more on providing more details. If you go to the grammar part of my course, I do have a lesson to help you with this. It's called Being More Concise. You can go over that lesson. That'll be helpful not just for speaking, but also for writing. With the pronunciation area or the delivery area that I'm looking on right now, I want to help you with what's called fluidity of expression. That's something I think you can work on. So keep practicing with some of the lessons, sentence rhythm and thought groups and blending in the pronunciation area of my course. All right, and thank you for doing this practice test.